Yo, 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 what's good, what's good? Sorry I'm late, about 20 minutes late to when I planned, you know, to start this live stream. But thank you to the guys, to those of you who hit the like button already. What is good, what is good? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorilla is in the building, and we're gonna get into this live stream, right? We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into what is going on in the world today, what's going on in the country, the United States, and what's going on basically across the pond over there in the Middle East. We're going to talk about the ensuing chaos that might occur. King Fuse's Lit House, how you doing? Salute to you. Lulu was in the building. AJ Moore, was good to y'all. Was good, was good, was good. Thank you guys for coming through. Please hit the like button. As I get into this rant, I'm going to get into this rant because I feel like, it's not a feeling. It's a fact that it is important to understand what the powers that be are inciting and dragging us into. We got the No King protests, and now we have Iran versus Israel. We got Israel and Iran basically at full scale war. They have been bombing each other back and forth for the past few days since Friday. And things are heating up. So much so that Donald Trump ordered warships, I think it was Fleet 7, or I forgot what fleet it was. He ordered some warships to enter into Middle Eastern waters. So I believe what's going to happen is they're going to basically lie in wait. They're going to sit there. They're going to ensure that basically there aren't any like nuclear launches or whatever the case may be. They're going to be monitoring the situation for now. I believe this is what I believe he's doing this for, to keep an eye on what's going on in the Middle East. Now, Donald Trump said that basically he does not want to get into it. The Nimitz? What are you talking about? King Fuse Lit House? What is that? He said he doesn't want to get into it until in the middle of it, right? But at the same time, he's allowing Israel to do what they're doing. Nate Higgers donated $100 through Super Chat. Nate Higgers, what is that? What? Okay. Anyway, welcome, Nate Higgers. How you doing? So, listen. If this war continues, if this thing continues between Israel and Iran, we won't have a choice but to get into it. And of course, that is what Bibi Nosferatu is counting on. That's my new name for Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi Nosferatu. That's what I'm calling him from now on. Nate Hickers, what are you talking about? You didn't send me $100. I didn't get a $100 super chat. But I mean, if you attempted to do it, I appreciate it. You might want to look into that, though. You might want to look into it, because I did not. Did anybody else see a $100 super chat? I don't. You might want to talk to YouTube. I didn't receive. From what I can tell, I don't see any $100 super chat. But I appreciate the thought. I appreciate the thought. I really do. Yes, Israel is America's daddy. King Fuse Lit House. Bibi Nosferatu, he understood. You lost $100. I don't know, Nate Higgers. I have no idea. I didn't get it, and trust me, I wish I did. I wish I had the $100 you sent. Like I said, you might want to talk to YouTube about it because I didn't get it. Now Bibi Nosferatu knew that this was going to happen, right? Bibi Nosferatu has an understanding that he can do whatever he wants, because basically Donald Trump advised him not to attack Iran directly and allow the peace talks, allow the nuclear talks to continue, allow the conversation to continue, and don't do anything. But Bibi Nosferatu basically said, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and he used our equipment, he used the things that we gave him, the money, the military equipment, he used all that to launch this attack against Iran, even though basically we told him not to. Lulu says Donald and Kushner love Bibi. Oh, I'm sure they do. One thing we have to understand about these world leaders is that they all have sleepovers together. Essentially, they have sleepovers together. Right? So we have to understand that. Donald Trump is going to do what Bibi Nosferatu wants him to do. And that is because Donald Trump is the PL president. What is a PL president? Pussy lip president. That's what PL stands for. Pussy lipped. And it's really not just Donald Trump, it's any president that is in place. They're going to be the PL president to Bibi Nosferatu in Israel. The pussy lip presidents. When Donald Trump has any issue with any other leader or dictator, he has no problem speaking out against them, even though he can't really do anything about Russia and what they're doing in Ukraine. He speaks out against, that war, but essentially he's not going to do anything about Israel. So if Israel doesn't dismantle Iran on its own in a period of time that suits them, we are going to be dragged into it. Now, either we're going to be dragged into it at the insistence of Israel and Bibi Nosferatu, or something is going to happen. There's going to be an event that is going to be seen as an attack from Iran, and we're going to be dragged into it. Okay. All right. Go ahead, buddy. We're going to be dragged into it because Israel, they have an agenda. They have an agenda to basically take over the Middle East. They want to have control of the entire Middle East and have control of all the resources there and all that good shit. So there's that. There's that. And Donald Trump even said when they did the launch, he said, "Oh, great." He thought it was a wonderful thing when Israel attacked Iran. And so, I mean, the mixed signals we're getting from this guy is out of control. Do you have a problem with Israel attacking Iran or not? And if you have a problem with Israel attacking Iran, then you have control of the purse strings. All you gotta do is cut their asses off. But you won't cut them off for whatever reason. Sudu, what's good? I think that's how you pronounce your name. Seydu, how you doing? Bonjour. All that stuff, all that good shit. And that's what we got going on, guys. I mean, it's really not that complicated. But we have to understand that once this thing kicks off, once this thing kicks off, people are going to get dragged into it that should not have anything to do with it, right? What do we have? What problem do we have with Iran? Why is Israel's problem with Iran our problem? Because we're in bed with Israel so deep that we forgot who the real power was. Well, those of us who really know did not forget. They did not forget. And so this thing is ramping up. We are sending warships to the Middle East, and that's going to further encourage Bibi to do what he wants to do, because that's basically Donald Trump signaling, look, we don't like what you're doing, but we're going to have you back no matter what. If you continue this campaign against Iran, we are going to have your back. So that's going to embolden Bibi Nosferatu. It's going to get ramped up, and it is what it is. Right? So be prepared. Right? Be prepared. Like I said, it's going to be, what I believe is going to drag us into it 100% is that there's going to be a major threat or a huge devastating attack against Israel that is going to require us to step in, or there's going to be an event that is going to involve maybe U.S. Service members, maybe a base somewhere, maybe somewhere over here in the United States. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But all this is happening for a reason. This is not self-defense. Yes, they are saying that Israel or that Iran backed the Houthis, they backed Lebanon, they backed all these, hostile countries that are hostile towards Israel. That's what they say. But all we have is their word to go by, right? Their government and our government. Well, if you look at history, our government has no problem falsifying information to drag us into a war, because that's what they did to get us into Operation Iraqi Freedom, right? This whole thing about weapons of mass destruction Iraq has. First it was, they're harboring bin Laden in them, right? They tried to say Iraq was harboring bin Laden, and that's why we need to attack. That wasn't good enough. So then it just kept changing, and then it became about, they have weapons of mass destruction, right? And when that was found to be false, they said, we just need to free the people of Iraq. That's when it became Operation Iraqi Freedom. They will do that again. Yes, please hit the like button. King Fuser says the Jays funded the birth of the America. The Dutch Jews are the reason America was able to win. They funded America with receipts. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of factors. There are a lot of reasons that Israel has their hand up our asses, right? Sunshine, how you doing? Queen Sunshine's in the building. How you doing? I appreciate you. Yes, please give a thumbs up and share if you so choose. So Donald Trump was supposed to come through and make all these great changes, right? I mean, he's even backing down on the deportation shit. He's even easing up on that, right? According to his language. But this is what I want people to understand about presidents. If you can have all the best intentions in the world as a presidential candidate, you can make all these promises and intend to keep them. You can be what is thought to be the savior of the United States, right? You're going to right the ship. You're going to make everything right. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to get rid of all these gun laws. You're going to get rid of all the illegal immigrants. You're going to bring manufacturing back to the United States. You're going to do all that shit. You're going to do all that, right? That's what you want to do. That might be your intention. But once you actually become elected and you are taken into that room by the president that's the previous president, and they break it down to you what you can and cannot do and what you will or will not do and who actually controls shit, you're going to have to go along. The system is much too entrenched. This system of government is much more entrenched than a president. A president is in office for no longer than 8 years at a time, at most. But the system that the president seats himself in, there's really not a lot you can do. So of course, Israel was going to do what Israel wanted to do, whether Trump was president or not. Remember, October 7th started with Biden in office. And they committed atrocities against the people of Palestine while Biden was in office. They continue to commit atrocities while Trump is in office. Right? They killed aid workers. They've stopped Greta Thunberg and her ship from bringing aid. They have destroyed aid stations. They have destroyed schools that are there. They use, the Palestinians were using these schools to house wounded soldiers and children and women, and they had like a triage set up. They had a little clinic set up. Well, Israel blew that shit up, right? Blew it up and said, oh, well, they were planning terrorist attacks. Oh, they were planning terrorist attacks. So yeah, we destroyed a building, or a part of a building that had children and women in it, but Hamas was using them as human shields. And that's what the IDF said. The IDF said that they are using these civilians as human shields. So they acknowledge they are killing these children, and they don't really care. Everybody gets caught up, right? And look, they were doing that when Trump was president. They were doing that when Biden was president. Doesn't matter. Everybody gets caught up with the lesser of two evils when it comes to voting, right? You have two candidates or more. You have two candidates or more, and they want to be your president. And they all have a past. No one is perfect. One guy might have been accused of sexual assault. One chick might have slept her way to the top. One guy might have started the crime bill in 1994 that imprisoned millions of innocent people and gave them ridiculous minimum sentences. You have three people to choose from. And there's more than that, of course, but I'm going to stick to those three right now. They all did something that you might find atrocious, right? Not only did the chick sleep her way to the top in California, but she also used that crime bill to lock up innocent black people. And then for smoking weed, for that type of shit. Or she held people beyond their sentences, right? They were supposed to get out on this day. Oh, we're going to hold them a little longer so they can fight some fires against their will. Well, they're supposed to be released. And then you have a guy that was accused of SA, right? Accused of SA. I don't give a fuck about tax evasion or none of that shit, or lying about the property value. They made that such a big fucking deal. No. I would go with the thing that they say he did to a woman against her will. So you have those three people. You have those three people, and then you have, let's say, a veteran from Hawaii who's supposed to be a conservative, but she wants to initiate an assault weapons bill. So whatever the fuck, whatever you want to choose. One thing you know about all of them. One thing you know about all of them is that when they become president, they are going to want to do things that are going to cost you, whether you like it or not. But when you talk about the lesser of evils, and you say, oh, well, you got to vote. Well, I don't like neither one of them motherfuckers. They all trash. They're all evil. And you say, well, you just got to choose the lesser of two evils, or the lesser of three evils, or lesser of four evils. However many candidates you got out there. YouTube education. That's right, Alan Harper. I don't know if you're being sarcastic. But you here watching, so it is what it is. But I'm speaking facts. So understand that when you choose someone to rule over you, they're all going to be flawed individuals. And when you talk about choosing the lesser of two evils, understand you're still choosing evil. You're still choosing evil. You're either going to choose an SA, you're going to choose a racist who started the '94 crime bill, you're going to choose a woman who held men beyond their sentences, falsely imprisoned people, and then these are the people you're choosing between. But you're still going to choose one, right? At the end of the day, you're choosing somebody who is going to back Israel no matter what. You understand how it all comes to one single point? And that's the point it's coming to. If we get engaged in another hot war in the Middle East, a fresh, brand new one. Who said Alex Jones? I mean, Alex Jones was right on point about a lot of shit. Alex Jones was right on point about a lot of shit. And I gotta tell you, look what they did to him. If you have the influence that Alex Jones had, and you start saying shit, and they come for you like like they went for Alex Jones, well, why? But anyway, you are going to, if we get engaged in another war in the Middle East, this is going to bring a lot of devastation. It's going to bring a lot of devastation. And it's not just going to be contained in the Middle East, y'all. It's going to spill out, it's going to bleed out in many different ways. You think the economy is bad now. And a lot of that has to do with us funding Ukraine, us funding Israel in the war against Hamas, us funding Ukraine in their war against Russia, us leaving Afghanistan and leaving billions of dollars worth of equipment and all that shit over there. All that cost us money. You think the economy is bad now? They want to tell you about tariffs? Oh, the tariff this and the tariff that. You think that is what's causing the bad economy? When the inflation was already out of control? Y'all have life fucked up. Y'all are not thinking. See, y'all think the way they want you to think. If you are on the left or on the right, if you are a Democrat or Republican, you are going to go with whatever party you rock with. That's what you're going to go with. No. It is the fact that we're funding a war overseas. Now we're funding two wars. We are funding illegal immigrants that came over here to receive aid that they did not consult with us to take our money to use. They're using our money to fund aid for these for illegal immigrants. Remember how many thousands of dollars they gave these people when they came over here? That cost us millions of dollars. The Ukraine war is costing us billions of dollars, or it did. The war Israel is in costing us hundreds of billions of dollars. The tariffs came later. There were already tariffs against China that Biden kept in place. Trump added a little more. But let me ask you guys something. China told us that they were going to stop shipping shit for Amazon. Remember that? Remember they told you, oh, Amazon, oh, they're not going to have this, they're not going to have that. What was it? May 15th is the last day that we're shipping shit out. If you guys go to Amazon right now, can y'all find an ironing board that is being sold by Kumachi Kichi or Zingbong Bi or Bling Bong Bao? Tell me You ever go on Amazon and you trying to buy some shit and you see some shit being sold by some company called Ching Pao and Longbing and Winghua? It's still there. So if the tariffs are so horrible, why are Ching Chong Ping, Ding Dong Dao, and Ling Lang Li still selling shit on Amazon? Yes, Sand Beach. Israel is always instigating. They've been instigating for decades because they actually, listen, they believe that they are the chosen people. Yes, Long Bing, Ting Tong Tay. I was just on Amazon yesterday. Right? I'm trying to buy something. I'm trying to find an alternative to a Westlope chest pack because the motherfuckers want $130-something for it. And I'm seeing chest packs from Chicky Chicky Ping Ping Ding and Licky La La Loo. Yeah, all these motherfuckers still selling shit. Don't get it twisted. Oh, but they're stopping the shipping. Yes, Israel is going to cost us money. They've been costing us money. You know what's bringing the prices of things up? American stupidity. Funding foreign countries that don't deserve our money. I mean, come on. Right? These foreign nations that we give all this money to. Pakistani gender studies in Pakistan. Gender studies. They're paying money to see how long a rat can run on a fucking rat wheel and get an erection or some silly shit. Why is this important? Stray Godzilla was good. How you doing, brother? Tell me, guys. Oh, the tariff system. You know what? It's funny. I was watching this video where now I'm not a shipper and receiver guy, right? I don't operate in that world, but I do have an understanding of shipped goods because in the field that I'm in as a superintendent, I have to keep track of cost of certain things like copper, aluminum, right? Equipment that's being shipped from overseas, you know, switch gear, transformers, right? If we're using foreign made equipment, well, you keep track of that shit. Well, they were doing a video and they were talking about the tariffs and who actually pays for the tariffs. And one guy, he's supposed to be in shipping and receiving, one of those guys that are heavily involved in that. And he said, oh yeah, well, we pay for the tariffs and then we pass the cost on to the people. That's what they said. So clearly the trolls are in here. Anyway, we got some Homo erectuses up in the building, y'all. We got some broken wrist motherfuckers trying to troll. Anyway, he said the costs get passed on to the people, and he pays the cost as the receiver from whatever the fuck. Like if he gets some shit from China, he has to pay those tariffs. Well then, why would China threaten to stop shipping shit if they're not paying for the tariffs? Answer me that question. Like I said, I'm no expert, but if China wasn't paying for the tariffs, they wouldn't be making these threats. They wouldn't say, oh, we're not going to do this, we're going to do that. Okay, but why are you guys threatening that when you aren't paying the tariffs according to people? So it is what it is. Boy, oh boy. You talk about Trump and the trolls come out. The bottom line is that when Donald Trump had those warships sent to the Middle East, that cost us money. That cost the people money. And we're doing that to protect Israel. And Israel does not give a fuck what our so-called president has to say about what they're doing. Because they know that we will continue to spend money for them to do what they want. That's the bottom line to it. That's the bottom line to it. And that brings me to this no king protests. Who are they protesting? They're talking about, what is this no king protest all about? Why are we now talking about no king protests? Is Donald Trump supposed to be the king? The cognitive dissonance never. Yo, sorry about that. The wife called. You know how that is. Can y'all hear me? Please put a Romeo Lima Charlie in the chat. RLC. Let me know you read me loud and clear. Romeo Lima Charlie, please. So, all right, cool. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, I was talking about the King's protest. And it's funny to me because I think it's the goddamn Democrats, right? The liberals that are doing this. The liberals are protesting the king and all that because they don't like what Trump's doing. Now they're calling the president king. But I thought presidents were elected. I didn't think that presidents could be kings, right? Like, we believe so much in free and fair election. Everybody votes count, you know, all that shit. The vote matters. The vote matters, but you guys are calling this guy a king and you're saying this is the king's protest. But did we not have an election for Trump? Did he not win on the electoral votes and the popular vote? Didn't he win? So why are we protesting a president that was elected? Because when Joey B was president and he was doing some stupid, silly ass shit, and he was senile and all these different things, and y'all rocked with it. But when, you know, because the election, the voting, it all matters. But now we're protesting the king. You're protesting, you're complaining about the system that you willingly oh my God, bro. You guys are protesting a guy who was put in place. You guys are. We're protesting, right? We're protesting a guy that was put in place by a system y'all believe in. The democratic system. The democratic republic system, where we elect representatives to act on our behalf. Y'all believe in democracy, right? Y'all believe in two wolves and a lamb deciding what's for dinner. That's what y'all believe in.
Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
Happy Project 25. No, we can't talk about fascists. If you guys voted, let me tell you guys something. If you voted in this election and Trump became president, how is it that you're complaining? Even if you voted for someone other than Trump. Explain it to me. Because what you did was, when you voted, he's acting like a king. Well, like I said, I understand what you guys say he's doing. Right? I understand what y'all are saying he's doing. Y'all are saying that he's acting outside of his office. He's acting out of realm and out of the, you know what I'm saying? Y'all saying that he's ruling by fiat, basically. Because that's what kings do. They rule by fiat. It is what I say it is, right? But Trump was put in place via the system y'all uphold by voting. Didn't y'all vote? Did y'all vote for Biden or Camel Toe Harris? Y'all voted for the lesser of evils, right? But what you did was you voted. So what you're doing when you're voting is you are letting them know, you're letting the system know that you want your guy to be the ruler, or you want your gal to be the ruler. Which I'm pretty sure if you guys don't like Trump, you probably voted for Camel Toe Harris. Well, you voted for Camel Toe Harris. But when you placed that vote, you said, if my person does not win, I will accept who is actually elected. Even if my person doesn't win, I accept the rulership from the person that is elected. That's what you're doing when you're voting. You're volunteering to be ruled over by the person that actually becomes president. That's what you're doing. Right? Oh, just because Camel Toe Harris didn't win doesn't mean that you're not culpable. You're culpable for Donald Trump's actions. Why? Because you consented to be governed. Y'all know that's in the Constitution, right? We give our consent to be governed. We should only be governed if we give our consent. If we don't give our consent, guess what? If we remove our consent, we shall no longer be ruled over, right? But every time you vote, you consent. That is you giving consent. I have no choice. What don't I have a choice for? What don't I have a choice? Y'all give me an RLC again. I need a Romeo Lima Charlie if y'all can hear me. I'm a mess? What you mean? Sunshine, what you mean I'm a mess? What are you referring to? Do I got some crumbs on me or something? I did eat some, what am I a mess about? I'm delusional. I'm delusional? No, I understand what's going on, right? Because guess what? Camel Toe Harris? Yeah, you know, it is what it is. Listen, I understand what's up. Now, I am an anarchist by philosophy, right? And I live in anarchy every day. Just not to the extent that every human being should live in anarchy. Or in sovereignty. When you have sovereignty over yourself in your own life, then that's when you're truly free. When you have sovereignty over yourself in your life, in your community, in your family, that means no one else has any say over what you can and cannot do. I understand that I don't have sovereignty right now. You say I'm delusional, but I understand that I am a participant in the system, though I did not give my consent. I didn't vote, right? I didn't vote. I don't vote. I don't vote in any election. I don't push political propaganda for one side or another. But I do understand I had to exist within this system as it is today. So guess what? I go to work and I participate that way because I had to feed my family. So I go to work and they take taxes out of my paycheck against my will. That is not me giving consent. What is giving consent is continuing to work knowing that they're extorting me. But again, I have to do it. This is what I'm doing. I understand that this is what I have to do right now. But with the knowledge that I understand this and that I'm really no different than everyone else, except in where it's most important. Like I said, I'm not very different than any of y'all, other than in the way that it's the most important. I don't vote. I don't vote. I don't vote for presidents. I don't vote for senators and congress people. I know they tell you, oh, vote in your local election, all this, that, and the third, but you might have a little more influence there. But at the end of the day, once you elect those council people, once you put those people in place, they get to do whatever they want. Because what you did was, when you voted for them and they got elected, what you said was, I'm going to let you act on my behalf because I got to go to work every day. I ain't got time to worry about, power lines going over top of my house. I don't have time to worry about them building a 250 goddamn unit apartment building and knocking down trees. I don't have time to worry about deciding whether or not a company can tear down a bunch of trees, acres and acres of trees, and put in place a battery plant where they have waste running off into the groundwater. I ain't got time to think about that. So I choose you to act on my behalf, and I trust you to make the right decisions. So when you get together with the other council people and y'all make a decision on whether or not to allow this land developer to build this, right, and produce all this waste from the construction, tear up these trees, have the runoff going into the groundwater, that could lead to health issues down the road. I am trusting you to make those types of decisions. No one presented me with the option to say, well, maybe we should put that on a ballot, whether or not we should let this organization build this plant. No. They didn't even put that up for a vote for the people. You understand what I'm saying? So I understand what the No Kings protest is about, but why now? And why this president? Because all that's going to happen. So let's say you got this No Kings protest because the shit didn't go your way. The vote didn't go your way. Your guy didn't become the ruler. Well, guess what? Okay, so you protest. You say, I don't like this guy. I don't like Donald Trump. Get his ass out of here. He's doing shit that we don't like. I don't like his policies. I don't like him deporting all these people. I don't like the tariffs because it's making the price of eggs go up. Oh, the price of eggs are going up because Donald Trump put a tariff on steel. How does that fucking work? How does that work? What does eggs have to do with tariffs when the eggs are local, right? You can get locally laid eggs down the street if you really want to. There are people, right? I get eggs, fresh eggs, for I think it's $5 for a dozen. It was $3, but the lady decided that she didn't feel like delivering no more, so she took the eggs. So she just makes one huge delivery at the local farmer's market, and you buy it from there, and they're gonna charge you $2. So the eggs are still $3 a carton, but the person that's selling the eggs, well, they want to make a little money too. But $5 a carton. Y'all complaining about $8, $9, $10, $12 eggs, but you're blaming the tariffs for it. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But again, you're blaming. So look, y'all have a problem with the tariffs. Y'all have a problem with the deportations. Okay. The next election, your guy comes in. What if they start doing silly, stupid ass shit that you don't like? Are you going to protest them too? Are you going to protest your favorite person when they start doing kingly shit? When they start doing shit that you feel like they should be doing in the capacity of president? They all write executive orders. They all do it. They don't give a hot fuck about what you got to say. I mean, what are we really talking about? We're talking about a system that allows the president to have certain executive powers. Every president exercises executive powers. And this has been going on for decades, for presidency after presidency after presidency, administration after administration after administration. Not only do presidents perform executive actions, but so do other executive branches, right? The FBI, the CIA, they do what the hell they want to do, right? They implement rules without going through Congress that you have to uphold, that you have to follow, that they can lock you up for, even though they shouldn't be. The ATF does it all the time. They did it with the pistol brace. They did it with the ghost gun. They did it with the forced reset trigger. But no one is calling for a protest against them for acting like tiny kings, are they? Oh yeah, let's put out we'll put out a memo and saying, oh, we're changing this rule. Kengar J, she says, I see you got a whole lot of newcomers that don't know your position in politics. I'm not even paying attention to that. I can't. It's too many going through, and I'm driving right now, so I can't even read the comments. But I can tell. They probably think I'm a Trump supporter, right? Is that what they think? They think I'm a Trump supporter. They think I'm a Republican. They think I'm a conservative. They got life fucked up. I am an anarchist. So just so y'all know, I am an anarchist. You know what that means? That means no rulers of any kind, whether it's a king, a president, a senator, a congressperson, a sheriff, a mayor. I believe in pure, unadulterated freedom. I believe in the non-aggression principle. I believe in sovereignty of self, sovereignty over your own land. I believe in when you want to go buy a stick of bubble gum, or if I want to go buy an iPhone charger, well, why do I have to pay taxes for that? I don't believe in taxation. I don't believe in the Federal Reserve. I don't believe in the IRS. I don't believe in the office of the president. I don't believe in the Constitution. I don't feel you need it. I believe in individualism over groupthink. That's what I believe in. I don't believe in the left-right paradigm lie. I don't believe in any of that shit. But yes, I do exist within this system. And as it exists today, I navigate it as best as I can while still maintaining a modicum of individual freedoms. As much as I can, as much as I can exercise it. Because that's just the reality. At some point, I hope to be completely self-sufficient. Completely self-sufficient. To where I don't have to go to work and get taxed and all that other shit. I'm working for myself. But that's not the reality that we live in right now. So while I am an anarchist in philosophy, I practice anarchy as much as I can, just like everybody else does. I go a little bit further extent with my shit. But what I don't do is I don't vote. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I am a free individual. So Mega get no due process? What you mean? Somebody saying I'm capped. I don't care. I don't care. See, y'all might be hurling names at me and insults. I don't give a shit about none of that. It is what it is. I'm here to tell you, listen, months ago, when Israel started to try and blame Iran for the Houthi rebels and their drone attacks, I told y'all back then that Iran was going to attack, or Israel was going to attack Iran directly. I told y'all that was going to happen. I said Israel's going to attack Iran, and because they're going to say, for whatever reason, and then eventually we're going to get dragged into a war in the Middle East on behalf of Israel. Well, step one has happened. I told you guys. And what did they do on Friday? They attacked Iran directly. I said that was going to happen because they're blaming Iran. They're saying that Iran is using all these regions around them as proxies to attack them. And that's exactly what happened. Now, when you talk about the No Kings protest, where people are dying, right? Where they're eating their own. They're shooting at it. There's assassins, and then there's a guy who I think he was a liberal, they say, with an AR-15, and he was running through a crowd, and they shot in the crowd. So these so-called peacemakers shot in the crowd because they said the guy was pointing a gun at him. Well, they missed him. They grazed him and killed an innocent bystander at the No Kings protest. At the No Kings protest, people are shooting at each other. And people are getting killed. To what end? What did they accomplish? Protesting by standing in front of buildings and standing in front of cars, crowding up together, making yourselves huge targets. Do you think that's really effective? I remember when they did this protest for George Floyd. They did the protest for George Floyd's death, for his murder, right? Somebody says Rittenhouse. Well, wasn't that at a protest as well? Who ultimately pays the price in these protests when it escalates to violence? Everyone that's died in these protests did not belong to government. They were not government officials. They didn't have any control or power over the country. They want y'all to protest. They want y'all to stand around in large groups, and they want you to get out of pocket. They want you to get out of pocket enough that they can do something about it. They love the unrest. It justifies their existence. Kangar J says, heck, look at Chaz. That's what, yeah. I'm referring to all that shit. Chaz Chop, what happened in Atlanta.
Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
Right? People die in these protests, and it changes nothing. Because during the George Floyd protest, there was a bill that came out that would end qualified immunity for police officers. I forgot what the bill was called. I forgot. But this bill, the bill would end qualified immunity for police officers, meaning that if a police officer was involved in a shooting that was not justifiable, but, you know, of course, they ruled it as justifiable criminally, so they got off the hook criminally, you're not able to sue the police officer civilly. That police officer, you will not be able to file a civil lawsuit, meaning that they are shielded from the consequences of their actions. If they go out there and they act, if they wild out and kill people, if they wild out and abuse people and terrorize people, they will not pay the price in a civil court. No, the police departments can get sued, and that ultimately comes out of your money, out of the taxpayers' pockets. Well, they had a bill as a result of these protests called the George Floyd, I think it was the George Floyd Act or whatever, that would see an end to qualified immunity. And guess what? It never passed. They did not implement that bill. And we're talking about when the Democrats
Watch out.
had control
on shoulder ahead.
of the Senate and the House and the presidency. They had an opportunity, right? Well, no, that wasn't. Actually, that was during Trump's era. But they had an opportunity to pass this bill. And I believe they had another opportunity when Biden became president. But it didn't happen. So what did those protests do? What did January 6th do? What did January 6th do when they tried to keep Trump as president? It didn't do jack shit, because guess what? He lost. And Biden got confirmed. So we're talking about two protests on opposite ends of the spectrum. You got January 6th, and you got George Floyd protest. As a matter of fact, the January 6th, a lot of the January 6th protesters got locked up. They got sentences. They got convicted. That one bad Proud Boy leader, I forgot his name, Romero Capero, or whatever his name is. They tried to give him 20 years in prison. 20 years in prison. Simply because he was in town for the protest. He was in town for the protest, and they said that he planned whatever. He planned violence or whatever the fuck they're trying to say. This is what goes on. And listen, the intent behind these protests, you know, they might be, you might have the best of intentions, but we're going about it the wrong way. We're going about it the wrong way. There are much more strategic ways to show them that you mean business. Proud Boys and Feds, yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I believe they may be. There were definitely a lot of agent provocateurism going on, wasn't it? Agent provocateurs, y'all know what that is. But think about this, y'all. They want you to protest. They want you to waste time. What? They want you to waste time protesting. They want you to stand out there. They want you to clump up together. They want you to destroy shit. They want you to do all these things so that they can show you when it gets out of control that they'll come through and clean things up. Right? When the protests get out of control. God damn it. They want that. It justifies their existence. It justifies their continued rulership over you. It justifies it. It justifies it. So, because they know that there are people out there that are going to look for them to save them. Instead of looking to yourself. The first thing that you want to do when you're in danger is you want to call 911, right?
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
You want to call 911 because you're afraid that something might happen to you. Well, by the time the cop shows up, the damage is already done 9 times out of 10. And guess who foots the bill for their existence? We foot the bill. They take our money to fund their operations. This is just the truth. They take our funds to fund their operations. They take our money. They call it taxation.
Vehicle stopped on road ahead.
And then they say, well, if you don't pay this extortion money, then yeah, we're going to place you on arrest. We're going to fine you. We're going to garnish your wages. Even those actions cost money. Everything the government does costs money. Stephen X, salute to you. The government's very existence costs us money. Every time they do something, it costs us money. It costs not just money, it costs us our freedom. It costs our energy. And right now we're okay with it, right? Because we live in the best country on earth. This is the best country on earth. It might be the best country on earth as far as tyrannical countries go. We might be the least tyrannical country. The United States might be the best place, right? Because you have countries where you don't get a lot of say in anything. Like I said the other day, if you look at Australia, they just banned machetes in Australia. They banned pistols in Canada. The Prime Minister just came out and said, "Yeah, we're gonna stop the sale of this firearm and that firearm, and ain't shit you can do about it." That's what happens in other countries, right? But here, we have the illusion of the Constitution. We have the Second Amendment that kind of prevents them from going all out. And that's why they've been able to be in control as long as they have. Anyway, I think y'all get what I'm saying, man. I think y'all get what I'm saying. No, they don't have anything close to the Second Amendment, Stephen X. That's what I'm talking about. The framers of the Constitution, here was the idea. And the idea might not have been to control people. But the idea behind federalization of the United States was to protect us from foreign enemies and foreign influence, to prevent another King George from trying to control the settlers in the United States, or in America, as it was called back then, right? The 13 colonies. They didn't want to fall victim to another King George. So they said, well, let's band together. Let's form Voltron in order to protect us from a foreign leader trying to, do their thing, right? Because we just kicked King George's ass. So we just kicked King George's ass and we got the ass out of here. Stephen X says Canada's head of state is still the King of England. Yeah. Yeah. These are facts. So, but see, that was the thing. That was the idea behind forming the central government in the United States, to prevent that from happening to us. And so the idea was, well, let's do this. Let's come together and federalize and centralize the government. And then we'll have one military to protect our borders and protect us from foreign enemies. And we'll pool resources through taxation, right? We'll have interstate commerce tax and interstate laws and all this other shit. This is what happened. Because before, each colony or each state had its own constitution, had its own Bill of Rights, had its own governor, or whatever the case may be. Right? And then there were, of course, the anti-federalists who didn't want shit to do with that. They wanted to stay sovereign. They wanted to stay separate. They didn't want a centralized government telling them what to do in their own state. But see, that's why the Federalists formed the Bill of Rights. The Federalists formed the Bill of Rights to appease the state governors or the state colonial, the colonial leaders. All right, because they each had their own Bill of Rights, and they say, okay, we'll do our own Bill of Rights. We'll do the Bill of Rights for the entire United States. How about that? So they had to go back and create a Bill of Rights to present to the anti-federalists in order to get them on board. Now, I'm pretty sure the idea was not to wipe their ass, right? To not have their descendants and the future leaders of the country wipe their ass with the Constitution, but that's what ended up happening. And it started because they started to implement gun control laws. They started to implement laws against saying fire in a movie theater or whatever the fuck, right? Because you had the right to free speech. But they say, oh, well, you shouldn't be able to say certain things in certain places because it might incite some panic. It might do this. It might do that. So we're only going to infringe on your right to free speech just a little bit, right? Oh, well, you shouldn't be able to walk around with a loaded firearm out in the open. So we're going to infringe on that right just a little bit. We're going to just take one little piece away. And then all of a sudden you have the NFA, the National Firearms Act. And now you're being taxed to exercise your right to keep and bear certain arms, right? Like machine guns, silencers and suppressors, short-barreled rifles, whatever the fuck they want to add to it. Hey, let's add this, let's add that, let's add the bump stock, let's add this, okay. Next thing you know, we got 20,000 gun control laws on the books. 20,000 across every state in the government, not just in the federal government, but you get what I'm saying. This country was founded on the Constitution. And we're going out and protesting when we have the Constitution to fall back on. But we don't think we can use it, right? Because we don't think we understand it. We should leave it to the experts to exercise or to interpret the Constitution. Well, there is a certain set of words in there that says consent of the governed. That's your out. That's your out. Consent of the governed. That means that you're only to be governed if you give your consent, which means you can remove your consent. You can give your consent, you can remove your consent. When I was born, I was immediately given a social security number and a birth certificate. I wasn't given a choice to consent or not. I was a baby. They put me in the system immediately. They didn't know any better. Your parents didn't know any better, but that's just what it is. But like I said, we have an out. It's called consent to be governed. What does that mean? Well, it can mean a lot of different things. It means a lot of different things. What gives the government power over you? Is it the F-16s? Is it the nuclear code? Is it the jackbooted thugs they call police officers and law enforcement officers? What gives them their power? Why do they have so much power over the people? Think about it. The government has as much power as it does because the people allow them to have it. Exactly, Stephen X. The people. The people allow them to have it. And the problem is that these people, they think that their power, that the power over them can only be transferred. The power over you cannot only be transferred, y'all. It's not entropy. It's not energy. It's a fabrication. It's fabrication. It's a paper tiger. Power over another individual is not energy. It's not, it has nothing to do with laws of thermodynamics. Laws of thermodynamics, what does it mean? Laws of thermodynamics. Energy is transferred, it can be transformed, it cannot be created or destroyed. But the power of the president is not energy. It's not energy, it's a whisper. It's wind. Now, you can use wind to create energy, or not create energy. You can use wind to harness energy, but you still need the turbine, right? If you remove the turbine, that wind cannot generate energy or pull energy from the earth or pull energy from the sky or pull energy from the electromagnetic field that is created from the turbine. Not created, but harnessed, pulled into. But the power over you is not, that's not what it is. It's a fabrication. Now, power over yourself in your own life, you can transfer that. Right? But you think that, all right, if Trump is the problem, well, the only thing I can do is protest and try to get Trump removed from power and have someone put in his place. What have you done when you did that? You've done nothing. You giving control over your life over to somebody else that you feel is more aligned with the way you want to live. But at the end of the day, behind the curtain, it's still the same Wizard of Oz pulling all the strings and creating all the motion. And it's a weak motherfucker. The Wizard of Oz was weak. Y'all remember that? I watched The Wiz. So when Richard Pryor came out, acting all feeble and squeaky with a squeaky little voice, that's when they discovered, man, this motherfucker ain't about nothing. Well, once you get to that place, when you get to that understanding as an individual that lives in this world that we live in, then you see things so much more clearly. And you don't get caught up in the left-right paradigm lie. You don't get caught up in these silly arguments. And when you speak as I do, people look at you like you fucking crazy. Think about it. I'm crazy for believing that every individual human being should have power and control over their own lives and sovereignty over their own lives. They should be able to do and act as they see fit, as long as they don't violate other people. If I do what I want to do with my own life, in my own body, and I don't violate you while I'm doing it, I should be free to do that. But I'm looked at as delusional and crazy for having these ideas. I'm delusional, I'm crazy, when the people that believe in the system, that believe in that the government should control shit, they believe that they looking out for their best interest. You think Trump's looking out, if you're a Trump supporter, you think Trump is looking out for your best interest. If you're not a Trump supporter, you think people that act against Trump are looking out for your best interest. You actually believe that they think about you. They can't. Mr. Boo Boo 1972 says no. That's the problem with people. Facts. CPS government says, I'm a Republican. I was in the Marines Corps, 2 tours in Iraq, and a number of others not on the news. Draft Dodgers. I don't know who y'all talking to. There's so many comments. No more than controlled algorithmic programs. We're talking V2K that has ability to manipulate the body as well as the mind. Yeah, I must be missing. Tristan asked if I'm a Joe Biden supporter. Good Lord. Stephen A says, do you subscribe to the evolution of feudalism to capitalism, capitalism to socialism, socialism to communism, and communism to anarchy? I have to look into that. I don't know. Because that is the idea. Now, here's the thing. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Slaughterhouse-Five. All right, it was written by Kevin Donovan, or I forgot it, Vonnegut. And in that novel, it talks about time, right? It talks about time and how time is not linear, right? It's not linear. It's not like one thing leads to another. It's basically everything, everywhere, all at once. So all points of time are occurring at the same time, right? So let's say Kurt Vonnegut. Let's say I'm 50 years old. Let's say when I'm 50 years old, I'm 45. So my 50-year-old self is not going to exist 5 years from now. My 50-year-old self already exists today. It's just the point of consciousness that I exist in is in my 45-year-old self. But I also have my consciousness also exists in my 50-year-old self right now today. I'm not there. But some part of my consciousness is. You understand what I'm saying? And so in the book, there was a guy who was able to jump from one point of time to another, or more during his age of existence. So he wasn't like jumping forward. No, he'd go forward, back, forward, back. He was jumping through different points of time in his existence. And that's how I feel about communism, capitalism, anarchy, and all that. They all exist. One thing causes the other. But I don't believe it evolves to it. I think that they all exist. It's just what's more dominant. Right? What is the more dominant existence? Right now, we are in an existence where all those things are happening, right? So this is supposed to be a democratic republic. But you have people within the government that believe in communism. You have people in the government that believe in capitalism. You have people that believe in anarcho-capitalism. These are just different degrees of the same shit. And you have communism and you have socialism. Socialism and communism are they are basically levels of the same shit, right? Communism is like, if you look at Chinese communism, you own nothing and you work for the government, essentially. So the government, when you earn shit, let's say you grow some rice in a rice paddy. You're growing that rice. Let's say you want to sell it at the market. You're free to do that. But when the government wants to come take your rice, it can and will. You have no choice. That's essentially what communism is. Socialism, right, is a form of that, except it's everybody's rice. Right? It's everybody within the community, everybody within the state, everybody within the town. We grow this rice. Everybody can come and enjoy the rice. That's socialism, right? It's everybody's rice. We don't put you growing those cows, you milk the cows. That's everybody's cow. That's everybody's milk. Even though You're growing it in your farm and your ranch. That's essentially what socialism is. Communism is when the government takes that idea, right? And they say, okay, your rice belongs to everybody, but we're going to choose who gets what amount of rice. That's communism, right? Stephen A. said socialism is a dictatorship of the proletariat. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And so it turns into communism because there's always somebody or always a group of people that are going to want to take control of a certain group of people. Whereas with socialism, everybody is supposed to be free willing and free this, and no one's no. That's an illusion because you have created a condition for someone to rise up. You've already gotten people on board with sharing everything that belongs to them. I put in the time and laboring energies to grow this rice, not my neighbor down the road, but we all exist in the same place. We're all intertwined together. We all love each other, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I don't care if he comes get some rice because I know I can go get some milk from him. That's essentially what communism is, right? You live in a commune. Everybody shares. Everybody does this. Everybody does that. Everybody has a job. But they're all working for each other, right? No one is separate. No one has individuality in communism or socialism. When it comes to capitalism, well, a communist country can be capitalistic, not their people. So like the Chinese government, they are capitalist. The people that run the Chinese government are capitalist. So they take the goods that are created. They take the goods from their own country that are produced, that are manufactured, and they sell it across the world. And they make as much money off of it as possible for profit. But it only goes to the government officials, right? That is a form of capitalism that communists exercise. See what I'm saying? And so let's talk about anarchy. None of that can exist within anarchy. Anarchy is about free trade, right? So let's say I have a bunch of ammunition, a bunch of freedom seeds, and I want to take it. I don't have to share it with anybody. It's my shit. But if I want to trade it with you, like I'm a traveler, I'm a nomad, I'm an anarchist. I go from one town to the next. I might provide one good or service, and I move the fuck on, and I go to my own land, away from everybody, and I do my own thing. I ain't got to worry about that town's rules, this town's rules, that, you know what I'm saying? But I might trade with the people within that, but they have to understand that, look, I have my own, I have sovereignty over myself. So that means, guess what? I'm an anarchist. I do what I want, where I want, on my own land, and no one can come fuck with me. No one can come to me and say, hey, I'm taking your this and I'm taking your that. Or I'm taking, I'm going to go hunt on your land. Right? Well, guess what? I staked this out. I did the work. I did all the surveying. I know where the animals are. I know how they move. Right? This is my territory. I staked it. I pledged it. So that's anarchy, right? Where you can't just willy-nilly come take my shit. Now, you have to defend your shit as an anarchist. You have to defend against those who might try to take control of your shit. But anarchy cannot exist in any of those things. Now, the overreach of the government, whether they practice communism, socialism, capitalism, or all three, or a democratic republic, whatever you say, it might wake people up and help them understand, due to the government's actions, damn, I need to be an anarchist. That might be the thing, right? That if you're saying that, yes, that might be the case. But all other things, all other forms of that type of shit, whether it's communism, capitalism, socialism, democracy, representative democracy, or representative republic, or Republican, whatever the fuck. They can all exist at once. They can all exist at one time. Stray Godzilla says anarchy allows a good idea more than capitalism. Yeah. Kangar J says problem is you don't have that type of freedom in America. No, you don't. Right, because of eminent domain. So let's say you go buy your own land. Well, ostensibly it's your land, right? But you might have to pay taxes on that land. Well, how am I paying taxes on the land I bought? I bought it all cash, all at once. So how is it that I still owe property taxes? Well, if you don't pay those property taxes, they can take your land that you bought. Or you can be paying the taxes, or you might live in a state like Tennessee where there is no property tax, but they still can exercise eminent domain, meaning they can take your shit for whatever reason they come up with, as long as you're duly compensated. They can take your land. So in reality, you can't exist in complete anarchy within a country like the United States, in a country like China, in a country like Taiwan, in a country like Cuba, in a country like Venezuela, in a country like Mexico, in a country like Canada, anywhere, in Africa, because for whatever reason, it's within human nature. We got to go out and we got to conquer all this land. We got to take all these resources. We got to go over here. We got to go over there. We got to slaughter these native people. We got to. Oh, look at these savages. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they have. We got to do this. We got to do that. Now, I wouldn't say all human nature. Certain human nature. To want to have to go out and take control of everything. I got to go over here. I got to take that. I got to go over here. I got to take that. I got to sell over here. I got to take that. I got to enslave these people. I got to grape these people to spread my seed around. Every inch of the earth, pretty much damn near, is under some form of empirical control. And only in the places they don't give a shit about do you see half-naked people running around throwing spears at people, taking pictures of them, because they are still untouched by the modern man. They still live as they did hundreds of years ago. But those are very few places. And they only still exist like that today is because the powers that be in the world don't see any use for the land that they're on. All right, let them be. We don't need nothing. We don't need that. So that's as close as the anarchy, true, unadulterated anarchy that you're going to get. Pharaoh's collection says brain rotted capitalism. All right, guys, I'm gonna get up in this gym. Sunshine says now they call themselves natives. They can't help themselves. Mr. Boo Boo says it is, but it has to be, even if it's smaller level, like a tribe, having tribal council. Yeah, I mean, see that speaks more to voluntarism, which is a lot more realistic, because naturally people tend to congregate naturally, right, in nature, like, because humans are social beings, right, social people. So they tend to congregate with like-minded people. But the smaller that congregation is, the better. Because if you have all these small enclaves of people that exist together, they live together, they form communities, they're usually of like mind, as long as it's organic. It's organic, it's formed naturally, and because they believe in the same things. I have no problem with that. Just keep it to your community. Don't try to reach out and try to make everybody, oh, you got to think like us. Oh, y'all got to exist like us. No, that's where you find the problem. And that's why we have the problem in the world we have today. Because you can have these smaller communities. And if you live in the community and you don't like how that community operates, you don't like its customs, you don't like its laws and regulations, well, guess what? You can say, no, I'm leaving. And you have you can opt out of that community and you can go somewhere else. You can go to another community that's more along the lines of the way you think, or you can go do your own thing as an anarchist. I agree with voluntarism as long as everybody within that community is doing it, is participating of their own free will. Jazzy asks, can anarchy lead to chaos? That's a loaded question. That's a loaded question. I'll say this. Communism can lead to chaos. Capitalism can lead to chaos. Democracy leads to chaos. Dictatorships lead to chaos. Monarchies lead to chaos. It all can lead to chaos. Why? Because, and if everything leads to chaos, nothing leads to chaos. Chaos just exists. It's a law. Right? You have order and you have chaos. They both had to exist within a balance of each other. Right? Because chaos will always try to lead itself to order, and order will always try to lead itself to chaos. It doesn't matter what system exists. There will always be chaos, and there will always be order. It's how it's balanced in the world, right? Chaos leads to order, and order leads to chaos. That's how it works. So everything leads to chaos, and nothing leads to chaos. Chaos, simply as a law, has to exist. Does that make sense? The Alan Dom Key show says, I wouldn't see primitive tribes or anarchists at all. They often have really strict rules and traditions. Yes. What I'm saying is the lands they exist in, right, where they're untouched, they have their own territory. What I'm saying is those are the only places you can escape world government influence to live how you want to live. Whether you live in that tribe or you live away from the tribe on your own land and you're not fucking with the tribe and the tribe ain't fucking with you. You get what I'm saying? Right? Now, if the tribe decides they want to spread out their territory, well, then you have a choice. Do I stay here and defend my territory that they're trying to spread to, or do I move out? It's still anarchy. Anarchy does not mean bliss, y'all. Freedom is uncomfortable. Freedom is dangerous. Freedom is uncomfortable and freedom is dangerous. But the difference between the danger and the uncomfortability of anarchy and form of government is that government presents the illusion that you are safe, that you are not in danger. It presents the illusion that you can be as comfortable as you want to be. Whereas with anarchy and freedom, you know the dangers, right? Because you don't have a government to protect you. You don't have the police department to protect you. You don't have government services. You don't have emergency service. You don't have the fire department. You ain't got the goddamn ambulance. You ain't got the hospitals, right? You don't have any of that. You can't rely on that. When you live in true unadulterated freedom, that is not controlled by a government, right? That's just a real danger. But with government existing within government, yeah, you think this hospital is going to keep you alive. You think it's going to keep you safe. You think that the police department, they're going to protect you. You think the fire department, they're always going to save you from a fire. You think that the ambulance is always going to get you to the hospital in time. That's not even a reality. It's just that in freedom and anarchy, you know you don't have those things to rely on. But at the same time, you don't have to pay the cost for their existence. And you can still live and exist among people that, you know, have medical knowledge, that, you know, that know how to use the weapons and can protect you. You know, people that can save your life. It is what it is, right? Anyway, guys, it's been good talking to y'all. I know that some people are in here. Exactly, Stephen X, self-reliance. But you can exist within a community, right, that has a doctor, that has a veteran, that has a veterinarian, that has a veteran, that has combat experience or has weapons knowledge and knows how to use them. You can exist construction, electricians, plumbers, builders, carpenters, roofers. The government does not imbue and anoint you with the knowledge to do these things. You do that yourself. You learn how to engineer. You learn how to wire a house. You learn how to put plumbing in the house. You learn how to suture. You learn how to set a broken bone. You learn how to relocate a shoulder bone or something. These are things that you can learn. You don't need the government to know how to do this shit. You don't need the government to know how to build a road. You don't need the government to know how to build a road or build a bridge. These are things that the government, when they build bridges and roads and railways and all this other shit, guess what? They hire private contractors. Right? They allow private contractors to bid on building what they need to be built. But these private contractors are not government contractors. They are private contractors. They do the building. They have engineers that go to school. They learn how to be engineers. They learn how to build. And then guess what? They give it to a contractor. The contractor's a carpenter. They know how to do this. You have a concrete contractor. You got a steel ironworker contractor. You got all these different contractors. None of them work for government. But they might build a facility for the government. Remember that. Just like they can do it for your ass. Remove the government from it. As long as you pay them, they will build it for you. All the codes, the building codes, all the safety codes, we have so much knowledge that we have accumulated over hundreds of years of industrialization on how to safely build something. You don't need the government to safely build anything because the knowledge is there. Knowledge does not come from government. And that's it. Unless it's a government department. Yeah, well, the government built the levees, didn't they? In Louisiana. If government don't like or don't want something done, or you do too, they can and will end it. Exactly. They can and will. Miss Clementine, have you've been in here? Well, it's been a while since I've seen you in here. If you take a step back and you actually look at the transformed history, terraformed history, the history that you don't know, you will see the patterns, plain as day. Watch, rinse, repeat. Sunshine says, remember that the show World's Dirtiest Jobs, everyone on that show had a special trade knowledge. All of them were making 6 figures or more. Exactly. You pay them, they'll build it for you. The Cabbage Patch children, the children of the trains, promised that they were going to get great education here. The orphanages moving into Old Fellows Group, moving into the Masons Shriners. Yep. Sam Beach says, I want to unite all colors, races, creed, fashions. I was put here to unite a lot of depressed folk driving around, living lives. You never see people smile. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, about that, about all the uniting all the colors. Here's the thing about that. It's more so about respecting the differences among the colors. Because, like I said, if you leave people to their own devices, people are going to naturally congregate and come together with the people that they are familiar with. And it might not be a mix of different colors. But the difference is you might have a group of this color over here, a group of this color over here. All they had to do was respect each other. All you had to respect the differences. Stop. Don't be ignorant. Don't be like, oh, there's something wrong with your color. Well, why you look like that? No, just respect the differences and mind your own fucking business. That's really what it's all about. Yeah, we dancing to drums and we dancing this. Yeah, well, that's what we're doing over here. You're dancing to the flute over there. You're dancing to the goddamn accordion, right? Or the bagpipes. You got bagpipes. We got drums, steel drums. We got bongos over here. Okay, well, I don't understand your bagpipe music. And you don't understand my steel drum and bongo music. But they all sound beautiful. in different ways. And I respect, I'm not used to hearing what those bagpipes are piping out, but there is a certain melody to it that I can respect. Just like, well, why you got to beat the drum so hard? Why does it have to be so much bass and whatnot rumbling? Why is it how they? I don't understand it, but there is a beauty to the pattern of the drum beat. I respect it. That's really what it's all about. Anyway, guys, yeah, I can go on and on, but I appreciate you guys stopping by and listening. Listen, at the end of the day, a president is a president, a king is a king, and a king can be a president, and a president can be a king. And the best way to protest it is by removing your consent. And I will do a live stream at a later date on removing consent to be governed. All right. So anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. Hit the like, hit the share. Please leave a comment if you have anything to say. And I appreciate you guys. Much love. Like, share, subscribe. And we're going to keep marching forward toward